Managing spacing and crowding cases can be a little tricky your first time. Space management is the key to your success, and this video will go through some of the ways to tackle these scenarios. For a spacing case, a more predictable way to close spaces is by retracting the arch, assuming you have enough overjet to work with. If the spaces are in the anterior, you can select the upper 3 to 3 by holding the Control key and then clicking on the lingual arrows to start retraction. There is an additional way to do this inside of the Guided Setup button on the right side of the screen. You can select the 3-ring icon at the top of the list, and you can hover over the red circles and use the yellow arrows to expand or retract the anterior segment together. The rounded arrows will allow you to torque the teeth in the direction you click if you need to adjust the torques as well. As you retract the teeth, you will notice the white space numbers getting smaller. You may also notice some red numbers appear in other areas as well. Any red numbers indicate interproximal collision, or the areas are getting too tight and the teeth are starting to overlap. Keep retracting until you have approximately the same amount of positive and negative spaces. Close out of the 3-ring tool, and you'll notice further down the list a Manage Spaces button. This button will redistribute your spaces and collisions between the tooth options that you select. If the sum of your white and red numbers are very close to being even, the software will typically eliminate all of the spaces and collisions by shuffling them between the teeth you select. One important thing to know is that the software will only distribute between the numbers you select. Any numbers distal to that will be ignored. For example, if you select 3 to 3 and you have a space or collision distal to one of the canines, that space or collision will remain unaffected. You can either move the space to the mesial manually and then hit the button, or you can select the 4 to 4 or 5 to 5 option to go further back. In this option, I'm going to select 4 to 4. Once you select your option, you will be asked if you'd like the midline to be maintained. If you select yes, your midline will not move, including any spaces or collisions that are between your centrals. If your main priority is to close all of the spaces and you are okay with your midline shifting, you can select no. You'll notice when it's finished, all of the spaces and collisions have redistributed between the teeth, and now all of the teeth have nice solid contacts. I have one remaining collision here. If you hover over that collision, I can either make it larger, make it smaller, or click on the X here to eliminate the collision, and this area will just expand out slightly to eliminate that 0.1. You can use the Manage Spaces button to redistribute collisions as well if you were planning on doing IPR. Use the 3-ring tool to retract the teeth and start creating collisions. Once you have the teeth retracted where you would like, you can click on the Manage Spaces button to redistribute. Since you only have collisions in this scenario, the software will add the total and divide them between whichever teeth you select. Using the Manage Spaces button is a great way to quickly resolve any spacing or IPR issues.